My name is Lucy, otherwise known as Mrs. H, and I'm a blogger and very recently a vlogger at Mrs. H's Favourite Things. I'm also a stay-at-home mum to little Miss H and a devoted wife to Mr. H and a former legacy fundraiser at Cancer Research UK. The idea originally behind my blog came from a friend who was a blogger herself. She encouraged me to start a blog, but I didn't at that point have the confidence. Then I was signed off sick for 3 months due to my depression, and at that point I was seeing a therapist, and she suggested I started a journal where I sort of recorded all the things in my life that made me happy, that put a smile on my face and that I was grateful for. And I came to the conclusion that that would be a fantastic basis for a blog. And so Mrs. H's Favourite Things was born. The reason I write very openly about my depression and my mental health is mainly because I'm not ashamed of my depression or my mental health problems. They are part of who I am. I don't think I would be the person I am today had I not gone through the experiences I've gone through, good and bad. And I originally started talking about my depression as a coping mechanism, that I would talk about it quite quickly when I formed relationships. It meant that if that person couldn't then cope, I hadn't formed any kind of emotional attachment. So if they decided to flee, I was okay with that. So, and that kind of escalated into me just really talking about it very openly and honestly, because it's part of me, it's part of who I am. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, I don't know, but it is who I am. I've had 4 miscarriages. I had 1 before little Miss H was born, and I've had 3 since while we've been trying to have our second baby. It's hard, it's pretty darn hard. Sometimes I'm completely heartbroken and devastated by it, but you know, I have to move on. I've got a gorgeous daughter who needs me every day, and so I can't just curl up in a corner and cry, because I have my daughter and I have my husband and life goes on. And you know, I still have hope that another child is in our future. And I believe it's important to write about these things because, again, like depression, there is a taboo about baby loss and about miscarriage. And I hate the feeling of other women being alone, scared of their own emotions and their own feelings, and ashamed of how they feel. I want them to know that there are other women who are going through this, who may not fully understand what they're going through because everyone's experiences are unique, but who are there to support them if they need it, and there to make them feel less isolated. Little Miss H, what can I say about her? She is cheeky, she is clever, she is beautiful. I don't know where she gets that from. She is everything I could have possibly hoped for in a daughter and more. In fact, she's so awesome, that's why we so desperately want a second child. She is a complete daddy's girl. I don't really get a look in. I am just the woman who stays at home with her every day, looking after her. I hope little Miss H will look back at the blog and see it as my way of recording all the awesome things we did together, and my way of expressing my love for her. I think my greatest fear as a mother and as a woman who suffers from depression and has had numerous miscarriages is that little Miss H sees me in a negative light, that, you know, mummy's going through one of her moods or mummy's crying. And I never want her to think that she's not enough or that I don't love her. She's too young for me to really kind of tell her that, to try and impress it in her. But through my blog, hopefully that comes across, because I really couldn't love her any more than I do. there are other people who read my blog who have suffered from mental health problems or are still suffering, or have experienced baby loss, or are just going through really difficult times in their life, I hope my blog makes them realise that they're not alone, that there are other people who've experienced that and have come out of the other side. I have had some very bleak moments in my life, which I know I've kind of mentioned on my blog, and I've come out the other side. I now have a life that I never thought at the age of 21 I would be living. I never thought I would get this far, but now I have a gorgeous and lovely husband, a beautiful daughter, and although I have my down times, I'm happy. And so I just want anyone who reads my blog to know that there is always hope.